What's going on, everybody? You're probably wondering why I got this do-rag going. That is because I just got my hair braided, and I'm trying to make sure that the stuff stays as fresh as possible. But I'm here to do another story time, and I'm actually very excited to do this one. I've been waiting to do this one for a long time now, and I know y'all are probably real curious and real excited just based on seeing the title of what it is I'm about to be talking about. But this story time is called My Time Working on an MCU Set. Now, for those of you who are unaware, MCU stands for Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, they've given you movies such as Iron Man, Captain America, The Avengers, so many movies over the span of 10 plus years, now shows and all of that good stuff. But yes, it is true. I did have a chance and opportunity to work on an MCU set, and you'll find out what it is towards the end of the video. I'm keeping y'all kind of in the loop right now what it is to see if y'all actually stay to the end. But this story, we got to take it back to 2013. I was happening to watching the news, and they put something on the news and saying that they were filming this major movie in the DMV area, more so in DC anyway. And they said what movie it was for, and they showed some of the actors and actresses that were actually there on the set when where they were actually filming the movie at. And I said to myself, you know what, maybe I should submit for that. Now, this was not for a part per se or any speaking lines. This was just to be in the movie, you know, as a background extra. But you know what it is. You get what you get. So I decided to submit for it. And, you know, I ended up getting selected. And ironically, they were filming like around a little bit few days after my 24th birthday, because it was around that time. So I submitted for it, and I ended up getting selected. And I was like, wow, I cannot believe this is actually about to happen. So I went there, you know, well, first off, I didn't go there. They sent me an email. Now, when it comes to working on sets, they send you a lot of different things, like different criteria. They'll tell you what it's for. They'll tell you if there's what type of clothes you have to wear, what type of setting it's going to be, and all types of stuff to set the scene. And the working title of this film was called Freezer Burn. That might actually give you a hint at what movie I'm talking about. But like I said, I'll reveal what it is as the story goes along. But that was the working title. And working titles of movies is usually something like a code name that they give to a movie until they come up with an official title for the movie. Because at the time, I don't think they had a name for the movie. This was actually still very early in production for this film. It wasn't like later on when they already had a title pretty much put out there. So the thing was called Freezer Burn. And I remember I was being so excited that I actually kind of teased it a little bit on my social media, and people figured out what it was, but I didn't go anywhere from that. So I did that. I think like a day or two had went past, because it's not like I submitted it for today, got picked, and then I'm on the set tomorrow. That's not how it was. Now, I will say this. I didn't have an opportunity to work with any of the actors because the main actors of the movie, they had actually filmed their scenes already, and then they went to another location to film their scenes because they shot some stuff in DC, and then they shot some other stuff in Chicago. They shot a lot of major action shots in Chicago. And so when we filmed our parts, none of the main actors were there. It was actually just mainly background characters, but it was actually a setup for a scene that was coming up in the movie. So we actually shot our scene at the Air and Space Museum, which is in downtown DC, or the Smithsonian. You can call it the Smithsonian. Well, it's under the umbrella of the Smithsonian because the Smithsonian owns so much. But we were at the Air and Space Museum. And they basically had us in a holding area until they were ready for us, because they had to set up the cranes, because it was crane shots and cameras and lights and all of that stuff. They had to set the scene, because while we were shooting in the Air and Space Museum, the scene is not at an Air and Space Museum. It's at a museum or a shrine for the character or the superhero of the movie. And so when we went in there, they literally had banners of this character and little statues and everything like that all around in the area to make it seem like we were in a museum that was dedicated to the character of this movie that we were filming the scene for. Now, for me, they had us all spread out. And it probably was about, if I had to count, it was probably about maybe 50 of us in total. It wasn't a lot of people. But the way that they shot it, it made it seem like it was way, way, way more people. But if you check out the movie, where I'm right there at the top walking. It's like 2 floors, and I'm literally walking from, I believe, the left side of the screen coming this way. If you blink, you'll probably miss me, but I know exactly where I was at because I made sure to remember that spot. So when the movie came out, I knew where to look for myself. And that's all we did. We just walked, talked, kind of whispered a little bit, like, oh, look at this, make it seem more natural. And I think we did that probably maybe about 5 times. It wasn't that many takes that we did when it came to filming that particular scene. And I'll just go ahead and let the cat out of the bag now. The movie we were filming, like I said, the working title was Freezer Burn, was Captain America, the Winter Soldier. That was the movie that it actually turned out being, that we were filming. Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Anthony Mackie, Samuel Jackson, all of those individuals are like the main cast of that movie. Now, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, and Anthony Mackie had already filmed their scenes in DC like the 2 days before. So they were not there when we filmed those scenes. As a matter of fact, they weren't even in those scenes in the movie. So it actually made sense. So this was a scene where it was just dedicated to the background people with no main characters there, which is probably a good thing considering if the main characters were there, it would probably be a longer shooting process. So when we shot those particular scenes, that's pretty much all it was. And that was actually my first time really seeing a crane camera, like seeing a crane come down and everything like that. And, that was just simply amazing. I was just in awe just to even be there. But like I said, they had the Captain America banners and all types of stuff right there. And like I said, we probably did that about 4 or 5 times. And then that was pretty much it. After that, we went back to the holding area and they actually lifted the banners back up and put everything back to make it back to the Air and Space Museum. It's amazing how they just switch stuff around. It was real practical. None of that was CGI, might I add. For those of you who were wondering, that was not CGI. So we went back to the holding area where we just kind of chilled for a little bit, and then we had to like sign some release papers and everything like that, and we left. That was pretty much it. It wasn't even a long shoot day. Now I do have some other set stories for a separate production, but that's a story time I'm gonna bring a little bit later, and those are more interesting. And that was pretty much it. So it was it. We was able to tell our family and friends we worked on this movie. We really couldn't say what the movie was until like the first trailer came out, which was a month from then. And then of course, following year, the movie came out in 2014. And I remember me and my family had went to go see it. And I said, I'm going to point out to where I'm at. And I was telling my family, I said, I'm going to point out where I'm at. Now, don't go crazy if you see me. They was like, okay. I said, look at me. I'm right there. My mother ended up missing it. My dad caught it. I caught it. But then she eventually was able to watch it again later when it was on television. And then she made sure to freeze that frame that part and make sure to go and tell all her friends and coworkers, you know how black mothers are. They get all extracurricular when they see their child doing something like that. And on something that big. So yeah, that's pretty much the story. Like I said, nothing major, nothing, completely crazy, but just to be there working on what a lot of people will say was one of the best Captain America movies. And I would have to agree. And I'm not being biased because I was able to be a part of it. Is definitely quite an experience. I guess you can say in a way that you're talking or looking at someone who is quote unquote a part of the MCU phase 2. Cause I think that was phase 2 when that movie came out. It's crazy to believe how like that's been 8 years. That's crazy to think about it because it came out in 2014. So it's been about 8 years. That's crazy. But all in all, I'm glad that I was able to bring that story to you. Hopefully that y'all definitely enjoyed it. There will definitely be some more story times on the way. I'm glad that I'm able to bring these stories to you, to my recollection of everything that I want to talk about. And like I said, it's easy. It's nice for me to get away from doing all those heavy hitting news topics and just bring you something more personal, especially if it's not something that you like, But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you are new, make sure you go ahead and hit that bell to be notified every time I upload a new video or go live.